Jake with Bond Performance. It's part 4 of the RS6-ish all-road build. I'm going to show you guys how I wired the valve and how the QTP remote controls work for it, and a couple tips here and there on automotive wiring. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and here we go. All right, Jake with Bond Performance again. I'm going to wrap up this valve turbo back exhaust. Need to power this valve. Even though it's going to have a remote control, it still needs power to run and power for the remote controller. So we located a grommet up in the hatch area. So I braided some safety wire and dropped it down. I'm going to tape the smaller end of the wiring, which will be attaching to the controller, and we'll pull it up through, connect a little cannon plug, and then once I get that done, I'll show you guys what we're looking at from the top. All right, so as you can see here, there's already an available hole for wiring with a grommet, and we utilized that, cut an extra slit in it, and pulled our safety wire, put the wire that we need to get into the cabin taped to it, pulled it through the grommet. So I'll get our length pulled up to where we need it, and can run that across the cabin. So we're going to add a fused link here and find a good place to ground. It looks like there's already a ground on this side, so I'll have to look and see. I might run just a power wire to the other side and leave that controller over here, but I'll follow up with that once I finalize what I'm going to do there. But this way we won't be cutting into factory wiring at all. We'll be using an add a fuse, so it piggybacks a second fuse onto one of the existing ones, and that way everything can be returned 100% to stock if need be. And by not cutting into wiring, we're not going to have any chances of issues with corrosion. And by using a factory hole, same case there, and grommet will protect the wire from being cut on the body. So should be a very OEM plus install, all said and done. And using the remote control from QuickTime Performance, there won't be any switch actually in the cabin. So he'll have 2 keychain key fobs to open and close the valve. All right, so working our way across the cabin, get the wiring tucked up under the trim. Going across over here to where the fuse panel is. So I'll be picking out a fuse from the diagram that's always powered, so the valve will always work. Just reinstalling this trim. Gonna test fit that piece before I screw it in, make sure I've got all the clips seated where they need to go. And yeah, we'll go ahead and use this ground point, and controller will sit in here. I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. So yeah, pretty straightforward, just a little bit of a tedious process figuring out all the mounting points for clips and everything to remove trim. You always want to be careful to make sure you don't break anything, and put everything back where it goes, like this insulation, when we're done. So it'll be like we've never been in here. All right, here we are, pulled up the fuse diagram, picked one that's always hot. I went with the control module for the luggage compartment lid, or the hatch in not German. So the controller is 3M taped up there. This is just the antenna. We've got fused power coming from the fuse box. Everything's heat shrinked. OEM ground point, also heat shrinked. And all the wires hidden, everything's put back where it goes. And that's a wrap. Throw this cover back on, and I'm going to tackle the suspension install tomorrow, and then it'll be heading home. Well, probably get the stage 2 tune loaded and then heading home. Everybody likes more power, so I guess this will be part 4, and the suspension will be part 5. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and thanks for watching.